you, I love you, I love you, Trump, I love you, كل العالم.
Chants of "I love you, Trump" echoed through Gaza this weekend, as U.S.-backed humanitarian aid finally arrived in the besieged region. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt reshared a viral video, originally posted by Open Source Intelligence on X. It shows crowds in Gaza cheering and chanting Donald Trump's name. Palestinians could be heard shouting, "I love you, Donald," as aid trucks rolled in. The aid came from the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, or GHF, a controversial U.S.-backed initiative. It arrives after months of delays, during which the UN repeatedly warned of imminent famine. Meanwhile, President Trump took to Truth Social, urging Israel to strike a deal with Hamas. He wrote, "Make the deal in Gaza. Get the hostages back." In Israel, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said the recent ceasefire with Iran has opened many opportunities. Key among them, bringing home the Israeli hostages held by Hamas. Around 50 hostages remain in Gaza since the October 7, 2023 attack. Netanyahu called hostage rescue his top priority, alongside defeating Hamas. Speaking at Israel's domestic intelligence agency, Shin Bet, Netanyahu said, he believes both goals, rescuing the hostages and neutralizing Hamas, are achievable. Trump added that Netanyahu was right now negotiating a deal with Hamas. No further details were shared by either side. But celebrations over the aid drop were met with harsh criticism from the United Nations. UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres slammed the GHF operation as inherently unsafe. He accused it of killing people and militarizing aid. Guterres warned that the aid model used by GHF forces civilians into danger zones, making the act of finding food a death sentence. He added that UN-led efforts are being strangled. Even aid workers, he said, are going hungry. Listen in to his statement.
The conflict between Israel and Iran has dominated headlines, but we cannot allow the suffering of Palestinians in Gaza to be pushed into the shadows. The ceasefire achieved between Iran and Israel offers hope, and hope is more needed than ever. So it is time to find the political courage for a ceasefire in Gaza. Following the terror attacks by Hamas on 7 October, which I have unequivocally condemned, Israeli military operations have created a humanitarian crisis of horrific proportions, more dire today than at any point in this long and brutal crisis. Families have been displaced again and again, and are now confined to less than 1/5 of Gaza's land. And even these shrinking spaces are under threat. Bombs are falling on tents, on families, on those with nowhere left to run. And people are being killed simply trying to feed themselves and their families. The search for food must never be a death sentence. Let me be clear. Israel, as the occupying power, is required by international law to agree to and to facilitate humanitarian relief. Meanwhile, humanitarian operations continue to be strangled. For over 3 months, shelter materials and fuel for critical services have been blocked. Doctors are forced to choose who gets the last vial of medicine or the last ventilator. Aid workers themselves are starving. This cannot be normalized. A handful of medical supplies finally crossed into Gaza earlier this week, the first from the UN in months. But this only underscores the vast scale of the crisis. A trickle of aid is not enough. What is needed now is a surge. The trickle must become an ocean. We need concrete action so aid can reach all people swiftly, at scale, wherever they are. Any operation that channels desperate civilians into militarized zones is inherently unsafe. It's killing people. It's time for an immediate ceasefire in Gaza, the immediate and unconditional release of all hostages, and full, safe, and sustained humanitarian access. The problem of the distribution of humanitarian aid must be solved. There is no need to reinvent the wheel with dangerous schemes. We have the solution. A detailed plan grounded in the humanitarian principles of humanity, impartiality, neutrality, and independence. We have the supplies, we have the experience. Our plan is guided by what people need. It is built on the trust of communities, donors, and member states. And it worked during the last ceasefire, so it must be allowed to work again. To those in power, I say, enable our operations as international humanitarian law demands. To those with influence, I say, use it. To all member states, I say, uphold the UN Charter. You recommitted to just yesterday for the 80th anniversary. Let us bring in life-saving supplies. Let us reach people where they are. And let us recognize that the solution to this problem is ultimately political. The only sustainable path to reestablishing hope is by paving the way to the two-state solution. Diplomacy and human dignity for all must prevail.